We have a huge number of reports out this morning from various government agencies and other organizations, and none of them were really different than what was expected. They were all in line, and yet the markets this morning seemed disappointed, especially after the PCE came out at 10 o'clock Eastern time. So not sure. Tesla investors also didn't like it, but the stock has been up and down all over the place in the pre-market and in the early going. Who knows? Okay, so a light week, day before Thanksgiving, a light nothing tomorrow, of course, and then a partial day on Friday, then 2 more days off. So people could be starting to organize themselves around their trip out of town, wanting to be sure where they're positioned. Anyway, let's take a look. This is some of the news. Zhongwen 2005, that would be 𝐂𝐻ONGWEN 2005 says market news. Tesla's Shanghai factory is currently sharing production lines between the old Model Y and the new Model Y, but the proportion of the new Model Ys is still lower. That basically confirms that the new Model Y will go on sale in January, coming up in just a few weeks. So I think at this point, maybe nobody was expecting it to come out in December. It still could, I suppose. They could still announce it maybe in December. I don't know. We'll see what happens as we get closer. This is just one report. Tesla Thomas reported this morning, and I don't remember ever seeing this before or hearing about this before. He's quoting a June 17th post on X from Elon, where he says that he's working on the Tesla Master Plan 4, and it will be epic. Well, of course it'll be epic, but I did you hear about this? Let me know in the comments below if this is news to you too. Anyway, maybe I just missed it, and I'm unclear. All right, so Kathy, yes, it's true. She has been selling right along a little bit almost every day. Now she still has 14% of her 𝐅𝐫𝐽 portfolio is in Tesla, and that's way more than her desired share of about 10% max. So while her sales alone each day, every day, practically, would not cause the drops that we saw this week, there may be others that are following the same path of trimming as their percentage of their portfolio gets higher and higher. Some may even be mimicking her moves. This happens as well. By the way, I don't think anybody should be crying right now. None of us. I think almost nobody expected Tesla to be in the 330s at this point. We maybe next year, maybe in January. I certainly thought we'd be at all-time highs next year and maybe touching on 300 by the end of December. But no, this is a surprise for all of us, I think. Whole Mars this morning says, "Hey, Elon, you should do a drone. It's basically just another form of robot body." Well, didn't I say this last night to Larry? He must have been watching the show. Thanks. I'm glad to hear that Omar is watching the show. Thank you so much for watching. Anyway, he says, car, humanoid flying, it could complement your existing services as well. A drone with Tesla vision, AI could be insane. We need a good American drone. And of course, I think he's talking about a commercial one. I'm talking about a military one. So we are talking about two different things. I think Elon might be talking about military also, because here's what he says in response to Homar's blog. He says, "Future wars are all about drones. Human crews of planes or tanks will have no chance. One exception, a purely analog human-controlled vehicle is more resilient to EMF weapons." So Elon, are we talking about, this is what I suggested last night, Tesla could be making drones. Now maybe they could also be making an analog human-controlled vehicle. And then SpaceX could be making the the rockets. So I know Elon has said that he's not that interested in being in the defense business, but maybe that's where things will be headed. We'll see what happens. All right, this is Randy Kirk. Hit like and subscribe and notify. You know what to do. I got another order for 2 yesterday. So come on now. It's time to start getting your orders in. for the Cybertruck Bottle Opener, and that information is down below. Later today, we'll have Jeff Lutz, that's for sure, and then I'm not sure what's going to be the late show tonight. I put out a couple of feelers. Anyway, we'll find out what happens. Mario Nawfal is reporting this morning. Following the ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hezbollah, a senior Hamas official told mediators that they're ready to agree to a deal with Israel. Oh, yeah. That's like, yeah, we'll see. Let me see now. Trump hasn't even taken office yet. We've got Canada backing down and saying they're going to help out with immigration and fentanyl. We've got Hezbollah already in a peace agreement. We've got Hamas saying they want a peace agreement. We've got something going on over in Ukraine and Russia that has been reported that there are talks already starting. There's not going to be anything left to do when Trump finally gets in office. Anyway, you may have seen some news, some headlines. Maybe you read the articles, maybe not. But this is about Walmart ending their DEI programs, are cutting them back substantially. I read a couple of the first articles. They underplayed it. The ones that I saw didn't come close to talking about what this really means. I mean, this is huge. They completely stripped out anything that was remotely woke or discriminatory in terms of how they decide on who they buy from, in terms of how they hire, in terms of the products that they put on the shelf. I mean, LGBTQ, whatever those letters are, no more products out on the shelf that are going to offend little kids. Offend parents of little kids. This was a sweeping rejection of all the woke nonsense. This is amazing. And of course, they are the largest employer in the world. Last time I checked, they also have the largest revenues of any company in the world. This is huge. From Market Watch this morning. Okay, here we go with all these reports. The number of Americans who applied for unemployment benefits this week before the Thanksgiving holiday, it dipped to a 7-month low, even lower than 2 weeks ago, slid to 213,000, not a big drop. Revised 215 the prior week. The report came out a day early because of the holiday. It said businesses are not hiring aggressively these days, but they're also not cutting back. They're holding onto their workforce, and this is kind of understandable. However, I keep figuring that this is going to end up showing something in productivity, but maybe not until they actually start laying some of the really rotten employees off. Big picture, it says it takes longer for people who need a new job who just lost them to find new employment. That part is been going on now for several weeks now. The paucity of layoffs and low unemployment rate, however, have acted as a bedrock for a steadily expanding U.S. economy. Yeah, I think this is the big surprise. This is one of the reasons why the economy never did maybe dip into recession, although I'm still not 100% sure it didn't. Okay, then also from Market Watch, the orders at U.S. factories posted a tepid increase in October, signaling that an ongoing slump in the industrial side of the economy shows no sign of abating. Durable goods orders rose only 0.2% last month, which is expected, I think, about 0.5%. Cars and aircrafts, if you take those out and you get the core number, new orders minus transportation inched up just 0.1%. Another measure seen as a substitute for business investment slipped by 0.2%. These so-called core orders are viewed by investors as a sign of future business prospects. Manufacturing is a much smaller part of the economy than it used to be, around 20%, but it still exerts a sizable influence. Orders for commercial planes and up and down category jumped almost 9% in October. That's good. Boeing workers ending a strike might have had something to do with that. Orders for new cars and trucks, meanwhile, fell slightly, and the rest of the report was mixed. From Reuters, gross domestic product increased at an unrevised 2.8. See what I'm saying? It's just kind of flat this morning. And the Commerce Department said economists polled by Reuters had forecasted that it would be unchanged. Slight downward revisions to consumer spending, government outlays, and exports. So those were downgraded a little bit, were offset by upgrades to private inventory accumulation, business investment, as well as state and local government spending. The economy, by the way, grew at a 3.0 pace in April, June, and that 2.8 pace is still a fine pace. Consumer spending, which accounts for more than 2/3 of economic activity, grew at a brisk 3.5% pace. That was revised down from previously estimated 3.7. And a measure of domestic demand that excludes government spending, trade, and inventories increased at an unrevised 3.2% pace. And domestic demand increased 2.7. All right, this is breaking. This is the PCE number. I was a little late getting started this morning. We'll see. Maybe you'll be seeing this late, but anyway, because of the PCE thing, was waiting for it. Anyway, this is pretty much as expected. I'll just tell you that in advance. Personal income increased by 0.6%. Now, that was a little higher than expected. So personal income increased 0.6%. This was back in October. Remember, these are so far in the rearview mirror. But anyway, according to the U.S. Bureau of Economic Analysis, disposable personal income, less personal current taxes, increased by 0.7%. Personal consumption only went up by 0.4%. Now, this is what you're looking for. This is what you're hoping to see, is that people will earn more and spend less. Well, they're spending a lot. That's a 0.4% increase. That's 5% a year. But if the incomes are going up at 8.4% a year, anyway, that's a 1-month number. We'll see what happens next month. The PCE pricing index only increased 0.2%. That was totally in line. You take out food and energy, it went up 0.3%. That is a continuation of what we've been seeing. That's the core number. That's what the Fed cares about. And that number is not good. That's 3.6% annualized. And that's where it's been for the last couple of months. Real DPI increased 0.4%, and real PCE increased only 0.1%. Goods increased less, only 0.1%, but services went up by 2.2%. Then if you look at the preceding month, the PCE price index for October increased 0.2%. Prices for goods decreased 0.1%, and prices for services increased 0.4%. Okay, then if you look at the same month a year ago, this is where the rubber hits the road. The PCE price index for October increased 2.3%. Prices for goods decreased over that year now 1%, but prices for services increased 3.9%. Food prices increased 1%. That's good. That's not bad. Energy prices decreased 5.9%. There's the big number. And the PCE price index overall increased 2.8% from a year ago. So, like I said, all of that seems normal, pretty much within expectations. All those reports, nothing really should be shocking the market this morning. So let's see, how is the market responding to all of this information? Well, the Dow says, okay, seems all right to me. It's pretty much flat this morning. It's up 72, but it's been up 72, 100, up, down, up, down, up, down, but right in that range all morning. But what about the NASDAQ? Well, the NASDAQ says, nope, we're going off. We're going downhill big time. It's down 161. I mean, that's not huge, but it's just like this. It's like off a cliff. And taking with it, or caused by that, I mean, Tesla, which was up, is now all of a sudden down almost $6.86. The S&P down 1773. Apple slightly down, Google slightly down, Amazon, but Meta down 5, Microsoft down 2.72, and NVIDIA down 4.43. And again, the ones that are down, it's just like this. Tesla just off a cliff, NVIDIA down off a cliff, Meta pretty much off a cliff and then flattening out a little bit. Anyway, we'll see what happens with all of that. We've got all the Cathie Woods up except for PayPal this morning, although again, some of them have dropped with the drop above that I just described, but they're all in the green. Okay, we'll come back and we'll look at Tesla again in a few minutes, but look at the percentages. We've got the Dow up 0.19, NASDAQ down 0.79 now, S&P down 0.26, and Tesla down a little more than the normal amount compared to the NASDAQ, down 2.15. All right, let's go ahead, see how the bonds are responding to the news from the PCE. Things are in my way here. People are okay, here we go. We have got the bonds, which not much action there. Okay, down 3.7 basis points on the 10-year, and down 3.3 basis points on the 2-year. This is pretty much where it was a little while ago. So you've got the 10-year sitting at 4.267. Not bad, not horrible. Okay, let's go ahead and look at the oil. Oil is basically flat this morning. We've got the Texas Intermediate at 68.86, so well under 70. Brent at 72.94, still showing over $4. Difference there, even as peace seems to be breaking out. We do have a ceasefire this morning in the Hezbollah. Natural gas down 5.62, very volatile, very, very volatile. Maybe it's always like this. Maybe I'm just beginning to realize how volatile it is. So got natural gas sitting at 3.267. Gold rebounding somewhat, but not as much as it was earlier this morning, up $20 at 2,666. We've got silver at $30 and change, down a little bit. It is well off of that $34 from previously this month. Copper up this morning 0.41%, still over $4 at $4.07. The dollar dropping a little bit this morning, not really anything significant. We've got the Bitcoin rebounding massively this morning, 3,532 up to 94,783. Looks like another run on that 100,000 as on this slow day in general. Okay, so let's go back real quick and look at those numbers again. Yet Tesla down 3% now at 328. It's down $10. And that's off of zero news. I'm telling you, no news causing this. NVIDIA also down $4.57. That is a $3.34%. Tesla down 2.82. I mean, what in the world? Again, maybe this will all turn around later in the day. You know how these things work. Okay, so let me finish up here. We have got yes. We have Jeff Lutz coming up tonight. Don't know what's going to come up after Jeff at around 7:45. There'll be something. If I don't have a guest, I'll just do it myself. I want to remind you to please go and buy your Cybertrucks and/or join Patreon. That would be another nice gift for me this Thanksgiving weekend to thank me for all this hard work. Okay, I'm thanking you actually for watching. That's my thankfulness. I'm really amazingly thankful for what's happened these last 2 years. Getting a career, the best career, the most interesting and fun career of my entire life at this stage of my life is absolutely thrilling and exciting. Thank you for being out there listening on a daily basis. All right, that's all I got for you right now. Let me say for now that it has been good